All right, guys, Colton, Lindsay here, October 24th, Financial Freedom Nation Accelerated. I am super stoked for tonight's training simply because we're going to be talking about creating space and creating an intention in order to move forward to what it is you want to create into reality. I'm actually going to move this back onto my screen. So as we get started real quick, remember there are four, whether you're watching this live or recorded, whether this is now or in the future, four things are really, really important in order to create your success. Number one, and I talk about this every single time, is you got to participate at a level 10. You've got to play as if you're really ready to make changes in your life, right? Because nothing changes unless something changes, right? It never changes. So the second is share your ahas, share your victories. You can do it if you're right here live, or if you recorded it in the comments below, or do it in the Facebook group, okay? But make sure you're constantly sharing your victories. Third is make sure you listen or watch to this training. You can download the audio inside of the group on Financial Freedom Nation. You can go into your username and password, download the audio, and listen to it a second or third time, because I have a lot of you guys that are referring back to earlier of the training sessions now. And then the next one is number 4, take massive action. What's that one or two things that you're going to take from today's training and you're going to go apply it into your life? Okay. So really quickly, we've got the chat button. We've only got a couple of you guys on live. I know people are still coming on here, but let's go ahead and check out and just check in with you, David. What's going on this week as far as in your life, victories, things you're applying, or things that you're winning with?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, man. So I just got back from Phoenix from being out there with Joshua Smith, and it set me back a little bit. So I gotta recoup my funds. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so yeah. So right now I've got a couple closings, working with a couple of buyers, and I probably will end up. I'm actually going to end up selling my van, my old work van. So hopefully to get an extra little income and then split that up,
Yeah. So what was your big takeaway from your event in Phoenix?
There was a lot of stuff. Actually, John Sheplak was out there, and he talked about recruiting agents and stuff like that, and approaching it from just to coach them, not to approach it as, I'll overwhelm you with what my firm does, and I'll talk bad about your firm and blah, blah, the whole nine. So it was really good, man. It was a lot of good stuff. So
I think that's really important, whether it's recruiting, whether it's getting a new buyer, a new seller, or any other type of business, right? Depends on if you're looking to sell products online, sell your affiliate products, just recruit for any business that you have. It's come from a place of value, okay?
That's
and
right.
we're gonna talk about this tonight, that there's 3 layers of energy that you can tap into, and 2 of them actually are not the place that you want to really tap into. One of them is. So great share, my man. Come from a coach, come from a place of value. I love that. Thank you. Michael, can you hear me there, man? Michael Martin?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
What have you been working on? What are some of the victories for you that you, big or small right now, that you want to celebrate?
We just listed 36 properties. It's a new development, housing development, and right now we're needing to get a lot more homes built in our area.
Yeah.
So that's a big plus. Looking forward to that.
Man. That's a huge plus. So what are you going to do to hit the ground running and make sure that you start to get that product out there and get those units sold?
We've already been putting it out there for social media and all that kind of stuff. We've got already 500 hits off of those websites, and we just put it out there today. So that's a good plus.
Cool. Awesome, man. Make sure that you just keep following up on that and get in front of it. And do you have any spec homes or new builds with those, or is it just all dirt right now?
It's all dirt. There's 2 houses out there, but they're not spec homes. So it's actually a developer that has it. So we're trying to find a builder to maybe take it all, or just start out building a spec home.
Okay, cool. So you've got the lots, and he doesn't want to build it. He just wants to build. He wants to sell the dirt. Awesome, man. So what I would recommend is you contact your local association of builders, and then you can get a list from them and start calling them and just say, hey, listen, I got 36 lots. We'll sell a few of them, or we'll sell all of them at once. And make sure you get a couple of them, if not most of them. I don't know if I'd list all of them, but get a bunch of them listed on the MLS, and that will get you a lot of traction as well. Because if it's like any other major market right now, it's really tough to find a lot where people could bring their own builders. So that's an avenue that you could really look at, is selling those lots off where someone could come in and build their custom home and not have to use that specific builder. So awesome, man. Congratulations on the success. Let me know if there's anything you need along the way. Reach out to me anytime. Okay?
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Cool. Sweet, man. And Mark, anytime, because I think you said you're driving, you want to chime in, just let us know. And as people pop in, we'll enroll them as well. So real quick, I want you guys to check yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is you're crushing it. 1 is you're just sucking hind tit. Where are you with your budget tracker and your smart week? When you have your weekly meeting, are you playing at a level 10? Are you sitting looking down at your different accounts, even if you're sucking on them? Are you being aware? That's step number 1. You got to be aware. Or are you sucking at this, right? Rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And then the second thing is 1 to 10. Where are you with tracking your spending? Okay, a 10 is you're tracking every penny that goes out. 1 is you have no freaking clue. You're just not even paying attention. You're off in la la land, right? Rank that on a scale of 1 to 10. And then the next question to follow up with, and I recommend you ask these questions in your weekly smart days, smart weeks, and in your daily smart days. How or where do I need to change to take it to a level 10, right? And it's so easy because we have shit going on in our lives. True or true. We all have our stuff that we're working on in our life that we tend to avoid dealing with the real issues that are going to create the financial freedom and create the success in our lives, okay? So, next step is let's review your 90-day targets, okay? Now make sure you're writing these down in your notes and your journals, plastering up above where your workstation is, in your cars. Everywhere you go, you should be very, very clear. You must be very clear on where do I want to be at the next 90 days in specifically 4 different areas. And all of these areas must anchor to something that drives you there, a purpose behind it. We're going to dive deeper in that tonight when we talk about setting our intentions. Number 1 is, where do you want your active working income to be in the next 90 days? Okay, so 90 days from this recording is going to be around February 1st-ish, right? So come February, where do you want your active income to be? Okay, or if you're watching this recorded or you're watching this on replay, 90 days from now, what month are you going to be in, and where would you like and where do you want your active income to be? Second is, where do you want your passive residual income to be in the next 90 days? This has got to be a continual focus, because the way that the culturescape is set up for us today is no one is there constantly reminding us to get our passive residual income going. We know we need to invest, and remember the 3 most dangerous words in the English language are, I know that, right? I know I need to invest, but until you actually start creating the passive residual income, you can never start to create the financial freedom. Okay. Next is your net worth. Where would you like your net worth to be in the next 90 days? What is that number? Write it down. Repeat that number. Tell your self that number over and over again. Post it up all around you guys. And then the last one is, where do you got to improve with your money management as far as your cash flow? Remember, the one habit, and it's a habit, right? If you're watching this recorded, write this in the comments, or if this live in the chat box, the word habit. It's the one habit, cash flow management, that will allow you to funnel your income to financial freedom. Okay? Awesome. So let's go ahead, and anytime you guys have questions that are on here live, make sure to write them in the chat box. If you're watching recorded, go to the Financial Freedom Nation Accelerated Facebook group and ask your question there, and I'll respond to it. So let's talk about the 3 levels of energies, okay? If you remember from the original Jumpstart program, towards the end is where we really started to discuss the inner world and the outer world techniques. Along the whole program, I talked about this, that the outer world is the how-to techniques. How do I apply cash flow management? How do I market my business? How do I grow social media? How do I increase my asset protection? How do I decrease and reduce my tax bill? Okay, those are how-to. But then there's the other side, which is probably more important. In fact, in my opinion, it's the most important. It's the emotional side. It's the inner world side. It's the place where we can increase our self-confidence. Okay, now there are 3 different levels of energy. Number 1, I want you to write this down. Okay, it's called draining or losing energy. Okay. This is where you feel on the lower end of the emotional guidance scale. This is when you're living in effect, when you're in your lower self. This is fear. This is doubt. This is worry. This is blame. This is jealousy. This is guilt. This is shame. And the reality is, when your energy is draining, this could be something immediate in your life right now that you're dealing with, or it could be something from 5 months ago, from 5 years ago, from 15 years ago. Heck, I know people that are in their 50s and 60s and 70s today dealing with some issue that someone said to them when they were 15 years old. They're still carrying that shit with them, right? And so these elements are draining or losing our energy. So real quick, and I'm going to ask you, David, how well do you perform when you're in a negative vibration, when your energy is drained? How well do you perform in your business and in your life?
Oh, I mean, it sucks. I mean, it totally taps you out, man. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You're wiped out. I appreciate that share. So one of the things that you got to look at, guys, is energy is a vibration. It is, and we'll talk about this more in next week's training as well. I'll sketch it out on the whiteboard. But energy is a vibration. It is scientifically proven that life exists with matter and atoms, right? And these atoms, they're moving at a certain vibration, okay? When you're tense, when you're in the lower self, when you're in the draining energy, you're moving at a really high and terrible energy, right? It doesn't feel good, right? The second energy parcel is what I call the alpha state, or the ego state. And I know that might sound strange, because if you've studied neuro-linguistic programming, or you study a lot of coaches and trainers, they're talking about being in the alpha state. The challenges with the alpha state, not many people will teach this to you, is the fact that when you're in that state, you're really stealing energy from other people. So you'll have some energy for a minute, right? But it runs out quickly. And so you've constantly got to be stealing and taking from other people to recharge that energy. It's because you're trying and seeking to demonstrate a higher value, okay? The reality is you don't have to demonstrate anything, okay? Which takes me to the third level of energy, which I believe is the ultimate energy you want to tap into. It comes from the inside, okay? Where is that from? The inside, okay? Now, this is what I call source energy, or your God self. This is where there is an everlasting, a never-ending amount of energy. The question is are we tapping into that energy or not? Now, have you ever noticed, whether you're watching this live or recorded, have you ever noticed there's some people that just vibrate massive amounts of energy, right? You can't even put your finger on what it is, but there's something about that human being that they're radiating a vibration that isn't what other people are doing, right? How many of you guys on here live, put in the comments a 1 if you've felt that before, if you've just been around that person, you've been around that individual, you're not sure quite what it is, but there's something good about them. There's some sort of good vibration that makes you want to be around them even more, makes you want to learn from them, makes you want to grow with them, okay? That's how you can be when you tap into your source energy and you break through those fears, when we break through that cloud that keeps us from moving forward, okay? It's fear that keeps us in our comfort zone, and we have to face that fear. We have to confront that fear and relax that fear and surrender into it and move forward. Otherwise, we stay comfortable in a lower vibration and we continue to attract what we've already had. But if we want to attract something better, if we want to create something better, if we want to do something more, we've got to increase and change our vibration. Put a yes in the comments if you follow where I'm at. Put a no if you think I'm crazy. You have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. So after the levels of energy, I understand this, okay? There are truly 2 levels of ourself, okay? There's what I call the higher self, and that's what I call the lower self, okay? And I've trained so much, and I reiterate it over and over with you guys because it's that important. In fact, this is the secret sauce. Like if you live to 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever, 100 years, and you look back and you say, what was my secret to success? It's this element right here. I can guarantee you. It's understanding how to tap into that source energy and move to your higher self constantly. So let's reiterate what our higher self is, okay? Our higher self is the energy of love. It's the energy of joy. It's the energy of excitement, passion, peace, tranquility, enthusiasm. The other side of that is our lower self. It's when we're living in that effect I was just talking about as part of the 3 energies. It is our boredom, right? You ever gone to bed and woke up the next day, but you didn't really want to wake up because you weren't excited? That's our lower self. That's our negative energy, right? We're irritated. Have you ever been like so frustrated that the sprinkler goes off the wrong direction and you like freak out on your spouse or a friend or a neighbor or a coworker or a client, right? That's our lower energy, right? That's our lower self. The frustration, the anxiety, the fear. A few weeks ago, we had our one of our guest trainers, Ivan Sorensen, who's built a multi-million-dollar insurance business. He said that there's this kind of continual bit of anxiety he's had to deal with his entire life. And unless he stays ahead of it on focusing on tapping into that source energy, it would haunt him and take him over. David posted, yes, that's why the morning prep is so important. Remember, in one of the trainings we did earlier in the year, we talked about establishing your morning routine. Okay, so your morning routine will help you move forward to create and increase that higher self. Okay, so let's talk about how do we create space and what space is. This sounds kind of funny, right? But how many of you, and I'm going to use David actually as an example because he recently went to an event where he had to fly clear across the country, right? You're in North Carolina, am I right? He had to go from North Carolina to Phoenix. He had to go clear across the United States to go to an event. It cost him money, it cost him time, and it cost him energy. And my guess is, David, is a part of you was thinking, talking to yourself, saying, you know what, maybe I should just stay here and just keep grinding and get some more deals together. I'll go to that event next time, right? Is there a part of yourself at all that was saying that? Let's bring you on for a second. Did part of yourself say that at all, or am I completely wrong with that?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there was a part where it's like, okay, this is going to cost me $2,500 to go all the way out to Phoenix. And I actually went out there for a week. So I'd spent, the first 2 days. It's only a 2-day training, but still, I mean, I had to move some shit around in order for everything to work because, it's, I'm going to have to give up a week of my business, not lead generating, all that good stuff. And then, pay $2,500. So you just gotta be tactful about it and, approach it in a smart way, but it's worth it because.
Awesome. So that's the exact thing that I wanted to hear from you, is that there's this chatter going on in your head, and Brent and Michael and Mark and those guys watching record and others watching this, is there's this chatter that goes on in our head that tries to talk us out of it. Is that chatter coming from our higher self or our lower self? Put it in the comments or the chat just so I make sure you're clear on it. Is that chatter, that external noise, coming from our lower self or our higher self? Okay, be really clear on that to understand that that's coming, like Michael says, is from our lower self. It's our lower self that wants to keep us from reaching our potential, from getting that bliss, getting that peace, getting that joy, right? See, when we're tapping into that second energy, which is that alpha state or the ego state, we can create a lot of financial success. We can create a lot of business success. We can create a lot of success in our life, but we still constantly have this piece of chatter going on in our head that is telling us we're not good enough, or we can't succeed, or you can't do it, or it's going to steal from your business, or worse, it's saying you got to keep doing what you're doing. You got to keep grinding away every single day to protect yourself, right? And so what happens is you start to believe that little voice. And if you've read the book, The Untethered Soul, which was an assignment in one of the earlier trainings, you would know that you don't have to combat that voice. You just have to be aware of that voice. Be aware of those thoughts going on, and just be aware that they're not your thoughts, okay? So we talked about our creating space. So going back to David's example, right? And I'm going to give you a little bit of example of my life. So recently I went to an event called Wizard Camp. And don't laugh, it sounds funny. I didn't go to Hogwarts or something like that. It's a lot about manifesting and creating a higher self that I've been doing for a long while. I also have an event coming up in November that I'm committed to, because I'm going to be hosting our event in Miami for the Real Estate Hustlers Mastermind. But I got to take another 6 days there. I took another 6 days last week. Plus I recently committed $17,000 to the Tony Robbins organization and going through their Mastery University program, right? So I'm going to be off in December, another 10 days. Plus, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We've got Thanksgiving coming up in November. We got Christmas in December. Anyways, all said and done for the whole quarter, for fourth quarter, I'm actually going to be out of town or out of the office for 6 weeks and in town in the office for 5 weeks. So I'm working less this quarter than I'm actually going to be out doing other things. What do you think my lower self is saying? You know what, man? $17,000, that's a lot of money. Maybe you can save it for next year. You know what, Colton? Maybe you shouldn't go to Wizard Camp right now. You should go spend your time working because you need to get your business rolling and make sure it starts the year off nice. How many of you guys can resonate with that? Put a yes in the comments if you start to have this self-talk with yourself. But here's what I mean by creating space. See, all of a sudden, we have the same 24 hours every single day. We have the same 7 days a week. We have the same 30 to 31 days a month, the same 365 days a year. Now, how David chose to spend that week in Phoenix was creating space. It was doing something differently than his lower self was wanting him to do. So he got to a different space, literally to a whole nother town, Phoenix, right? And he was able to create space. He was able to see things at a different angle and take some things that he can apply into his life. Now, if David, I'm going to unmute you again. If you had not flown to Phoenix, what is something that you would have missed out on because you were stuck here working or stuck back in North Carolina working?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously sometimes the break is always good, but I would have definitely missed out on two awesome speakers that one is a personal coach of Josh's that he invited in, and she's more or less like a psychologist, so it's just, yeah. But so that, like, she just had an awesome speech about like your inner self and like what you're talking about, your higher self, your self-talk and how you product your like, have you ever heard the saying of your head's like a bad neighborhood, you shouldn't go in there alone,
Yeah.
so that's how I get sometimes, it's and so she was just talking about how, so I would have missed out on that her talking about how keeping that mental thought process in a positive direction, I would have missed out on that. And then also the recruiting thing is big because, we're obviously trying to recruit for our team, so.
Yeah, so those are two things that he would have missed out on if he wouldn't have gone. So let me tell you what I would have missed out on if I wouldn't have gone to Wizard Camp and I would have stayed in the grind last week. I would have missed out on this really cool 18-hour. I did an 18-hour cleanse where I didn't have any connection to the digital world, and I also had a verbal cleanse, meaning for 18 hours I couldn't speak with anyone. I couldn't speak to the people that were in the same room as me. I couldn't speak to anyone that came in my circle. I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't get on Facebook. And guess what? I probably wouldn't have gone 18 hours without communication or technology had I stayed back home, because my business runs off of technology. True or true, right? So with that being said, it allowed me to create space and to understand more clearly opportunity. So think about this. How can we rearrange space? How many of you guys have that room in your house or wherever you live that maybe you just tend to put some shit? Maybe it's a closet for you. Maybe it's a whole basement for you, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Put a yes in the comments, right? So you have an opportunity with that space. You can actually rearrange that space. You could clean the storage out and you could turn it into an office, or you could clean that room out and turn it into a workout room, or you could take that unfinished basement that's got a bunch of shit and you could finish the basement. The point is you can rearrange space, and it gives you a whole new perception of how you can execute. See what I'm saying? So for example, if I wouldn't have gone to this event last week, I couldn't have found some new ways to work inside of my relationship with my wife to create more intimacy. And how many of you want more intimacy with your spouse or with your loved one? It's the ability to do it only happens when you create space to change the way you're going to do things. So I want you to try something this week. Here's one of your homework assignments. Do any of you guys have traffic where you're at? Put yes in the comments if you've got that busy highway or that time of day when the roads are a little bit more clogged up or when things are just kind of busy. Am I the only one that has traffic where I'm at? Okay, Michael, David, yeah, a couple of you guys have it too. If you've ever been in LA, around like 3:30 to 6:30 on the 405, you know what I'm talking about. It gets cluttered. Okay, so that starts to vibrate at a frequency that causes a feeling of kind of claustrophobia, right? Do you ever feel when you're frustrated or irritated or stressed, you feel kind of claustrophobic or tightened up, right? So you can create space. So here's an example of your homework assignment. Next time you're in traffic and it's kind of tighter traffic, I want you to give 10 to 15 car lengths between you and the next vehicle, and just start to create space. Start to do different things that you can create some space, and traffic's a great way to do it. How tense or frustrated do you get when you're behind your schedule or behind where you're supposed to be, plus there's traffic? Does that cause you a little irritation, a little frustration? Try that. Do that homework assignment this week. Next time you're in traffic, give yourself 15 car lengths between the next car in front of you, and just see what happens. Just see how the energy and feel how the energy changes. Okay. So moving on to creating space a little bit, your lower self, okay, actually shrinks space, actually clogs you. Okay. And we know that the law of attraction it states like attracts like. So when you're in your lower self, you're going to attract that back to you. You're going to attract more of that. And in fact, because there's always space, more of that negative vibration is going to pack in around you. Typically, when you have that, it's because your focus, what's the word? Focus is on either the past or the future. Okay, you're focusing on that bummed out relationship, or that seller that didn't sign the contract with you, or that deal that fell apart, or that money that you now don't have because you spent it on going to Phoenix, right? Or you're focusing on you got to change that flat tire, or you're focusing on, well, dude, how is my fourth quarter going to round up when I had a terrible third quarter? Whatever that noise is, you're focusing on something that's not right now. You're focusing on the future or the past. Now, if you're feeling a little bit more depressed or jealousy or hate or something like that, it means you're focusing on something really, really in the past, okay? Something that could have happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but it's a past event. If you're feeling more irritation or anxiety or kind of that uneasy feeling or that worriness, that's because you're focusing on the unknown of the future, okay? You're focusing on something, you're anticipating something that hasn't happened and probably won't happen. However, if you're vibrating at that level, you're going to attract something just as crappy, more than likely. That's the reality of it. Have you ever wondered why some people continue to have shitty lives over and over again? It's because they continue to manifest that. That's what they're thinking about. That's what they're feeling. They're stressed. They're hunched over. You go rub their shoulders and they got giant knots on them. You rub their necks and it's solid rock because they're freaking out, right? That's the energy you want to avoid. And so you've got to create the space and relax. Okay, and we're going to talk about some activities you can start to do to relax. So when you're in your higher self, when you're feeling good, when you're vibrating, when you're in the zone, how many of you been in the zone before with your business or with a coaching client or with a sales client or a listing or a buyer, and everything's just vibing just right? That's when you're in your higher self, and you can continue to get to that higher self by taking certain action items, but ultimately you're focusing on the present. Think about this for those of you that are salespeople and then you've been in a prospecting mode. When you're in that zone on the phones prospecting, you're not focused about your Facebook post or YouTube or what happened on that appointment yesterday or even the appointment you have tomorrow. You're focused on that moment. You're focused on getting that yes. You're focused on delivering value in that moment. How often, though, do you go home with your family or your spouse or your girlfriend or your loved ones or whoever, and your head's not there and they can sense you're not there? In fact, you're pulling up your phone and you're text messaging, or you're thinking about that deal, or you're thinking about that problem, or you're thinking about shit that you don't even know you're thinking about, and you're like pissed off about a hangnail that happened 4 weeks ago, right? Get present. And David's laughing because he knows it's so fucking true. Like, this is how we live our lives. And it does not matter if you live to 150 years old and you got a bunch of money, but you were stressed about it the whole time. Which also doesn't matter if you live to 150 years old broke, which if you're broke, that means you got other poor habits, so you're not going to live to 150. But what good is to live even a short-term life and you're not enjoying it? It's worthless. The purpose of this life is simple. I'm going to give you this. In fact, this question has been asked since the beginning of time. What's the meaning of life and what's the purpose of life? The meaning of life is simple. It's life itself. It's everything around you. It's the meaning you create, taking the blank canvas and painting all over it. What's the purpose? The purpose is simple. It's joy. It's love. It's peace. It's tranquility. It's feeling that surrender of freedom. Okay? Moving on to the next topic. How can we, I want to do a space exercise with you guys. You guys want to do an exercise with me real quick? So here's what I want you to do, and it's going to be easier for you guys that aren't on the video. Just go ahead, and if you are on the video, David, you're totally fine too. If you're watching this recorded or listening to it recorded, don't do it if you're driving. If you're driving, just kind of hang on tight for a second, but get to a place where you can do it without driving, okay? So I need everyone to just close their eyes just for a second, because we're going to go on a little bit of a journey here, okay? Now, one of the most powerful things in order to take yourself to the higher self is to relax through the power of breath. So everyone go ahead and take a deep breath in for a second. See, feel your chest just open up. Can you feel that open up? And it starts to create that space. Do it again. Another breath in. I want you to start to think inside of your head. I want you to start to float up above you, and I want you to look on yourself from above, just wherever you're at. If you're sitting in the chair, or if you're outside, wherever you're at, if you're in your office space, start to see yourself in there. Okay. Now take another deep breath in. Let it out. Start to feel that open up. That's the higher self coming into you, okay? Now I want you to go up even higher. Pretend that you're 10,000 feet above the earth, and you're just kind of flying, maybe like in an airplane. You can see the subdivisions down below. You see the open fields. You see the mountains if you live like where I'm at in Utah. You can see some lakes. You can see the highway. You see that traffic on the freeway that's kind of backed up like we were just talking about. Start to float around and just start to feel that for a second, and take a deep breath in and let it out. Just let that out. Take another one in. Let it out. Now this time I want you to go to 35,000 feet. I want you to go even higher. I want you to see a higher perspective of the earth. What does the earth look like at 35,000 feet? Maybe you can't even see the houses down below anymore. You see the clouds because you're above the clouds, and you just see some white fluffy clouds. What does it look like? What does it feel like? See all the open space that's around you? Now I want you to start to go even higher. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Now I want you to go out of the atmosphere. I want you to go into space, and I want you to see Earth getting smaller and smaller. I want you to see Earth getting so small, if you put your thumb out in front of you, Earth is the same size of your thumb. And you start to drift away from Earth so that you start to notice your surrounding, and you're in the middle of outer space. Now, Earth is just a light. It's just a speck. It's just a star. And you start to see stars all around you. And I want you to sit there for a second. I want you to look at all the space that's around you. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Now, while you're there in the middle of space, I want you to think of something that just really gets under your skin. Maybe it's a person that you just have some negative feelings towards. Maybe it's a deal that fell apart. Maybe it's a person that pissed you off. Maybe it's an incident that you can't get over, like you lost a deal, or you got a flat tire, or you got a broken heart, whatever it is. How does that feel? Does it start to tighten up a little bit? Does it feel good in your higher self, or does it feel bad in your lower self? Okay. Now I want you to think about burnt popcorn for just a second. Forget about it. Take a 360 spin, and remember, you're in the middle of outer space. You've got a ton of space right now. You've got stars all around you. Now I want you to think about a person that you love. Think about an experience that excited you. Maybe you got your biggest commission ever. Maybe you just listed 36 new properties. Maybe you just had an amazing experience at an event that you went to. Or maybe you're just thinking about a person you haven't seen in a long time that has brought a ton of value to your life. How does that feel? How does that feel to be in the presence of that experience, or that person, or that event? It feels great. It feels like joy. It feels like abundance, right? Notice the difference between the two different states you were in when you were feeling that hate and that worry and that doubt, and this one where you're feeling joy and love, okay? I want you to think about burnt popcorn again. I want you to forget about all that and just remember, you're in the middle of outer space. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath and just let it out. Okay, now I want you to ask yourself, what is the one or two things that I know in my life that I want to create more of, that I have been lacking in my life, but I'm done lacking with it? I want to create more of it. I want to increase it into my life. okay? Take just a second and think about that. Take the first or second thing that pops up in your mind. It's starting to bubble up inside of you, because as you start to loosen your chest, you start to loosen your vibration up, you start to relax, things that are buried deep inside of you are starting to come out and starting to expose, okay? So pick that one or two things for just a second and just lock onto that. Just put it out in front of you as if it's like a shape, or maybe it's a word or something. Reach out and grab it with your hand in the middle of space. Grab it and put it right into your pocket, just so you've got it with you, okay? Now what we're going to do is take and start to go back towards Earth. So remember that star that was what used to be the thumb-sized Earth? Move towards it. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Start to relax yourself even more. Now move towards that star. Now Earth is big as your thumb again, and it's starting to rapidly grow. And you're just going to cruise right towards Earth, to where you go through the atmosphere and you get to 35,000 feet, and you start to see the clouds again beneath you. Pretend like you're maybe an airplane just kind of floating around there. You see the clouds, you see the blue sky, you see the sun. Everything feels warm, everything feels fuzzy. Now I want you to dive down below those clouds. Head down to 15,000, 12,000, maybe 10,000 feet, where you're cruising above the freeway. You're cruising above the subdivisions. Maybe you see your house or your subdivision, or you see the river or the lake, whatever it is. Start to see that. Now start to go down even faster. Go back to where you were. If you were outside, or if you're in your office, or if you're in your house, go to where you were and you see yourself inside of where that space is. Now see your body there, and I want you to start to dive inside of your body, and I want you to start to look around just for a second, start to feel your body again. Now burnt popcorn, I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to take a deep breath in and let it out. Okay, so that's such a crazy journey that we just go on, and yet it was all in our head. It was all make-believe. It was all fake, right? So let's just take a quick second. Michael, David, and I know I saw you, David, on the video. What was your experience like? Share us kind of what you went through on that real quick.
Yeah, when's the Colton Lindsay meditation app coming out? I'm just messing. No, it was good, man. I would consider myself at least a little bit more experienced. I meditate I try to meditate every morning, at least for 10 to 20 minutes.
Nice.
So yeah, no, it was good. You know, it's nice to experience that, and to, I guess that in that activating the frontal cortex, which helps you make better decisions. Correct.
Exactly. So you think about it, that exercise lasted, and Michael just posted, it's nice just to relax. That's the key. For 7 minutes, we just stopped focusing on all the bullshit. But for a small second inside of that, I took you to a negative space, and then I took you to a good space, right? How did that feel? I wanted you to feel the difference in that, because so often we get stuck into the grind of the next thing, the next movement, that compression on our chest, that we forget to open up and take space. See, guess what? That 7 minutes, it didn't cost you any money. It didn't cost you any deals. It didn't cost you any stress. It actually got rid of stress, right? It didn't cost you anything. And in fact, it gave you a whole bunch of connection. That relaxation state, Michael, that's how you go tap into your higher self. That's where you go to the third level of energy I was talking about, which is the infinite source energy. And what I took you guys through is just one example of reconnecting to that source energy, okay? What was the one or two things that stuck out for you that you put in your pocket, David?
Yeah, so, well, obviously it's the ebb and flow of the breathing too is important. You know, that's what helps you relax and stuff like that. So, I've experienced like hyperventilation before, and had those moments before. So actually, it's just helped me breathe better, and But I don't know. It's always. It was a little trippy. I feel like you got the, I definitely had the high vibe,
Yeah.
But no, it was good, man. I love meditation now.
So did you take away one or two things that you got to go and implement into your life?
Yeah, absolutely.
What were those? What was one of those things?
One of them was committing to a spouse and getting that side of my life rolling, So the other thing was business wise, getting my systems dialed in for our team and stuff like that.
What is one system that you got to get dialed in?
So I did our whole playbook. I just went out and bought just went out and bought a big ass folder. So I got to fill that up with our whole playbook, you know.
Look at that. You open that book and there's space in that book to start creating whatever it is that you want. This is what I want you to see, guys. The space is abundant. That's why I took you to outer space for a second, because there's an infinite amount of space, but so often we get stuck into this box, wherever you're sitting right now. I mean, think about it. You wake up laying on a box. You go waking up because your box is beeping. Then you get off of your box into your box, and you go from where you're at in your box into another box, and you step into a box and you shower. Then you get out of that box and you go to another box and you change your clothes, and you get the box out of, or the clothes out of that box, and then you get your clothes on. And then you go from that box and you go downstairs to another box where you open a box to get some food out of that box, and you get food that's in that smaller box and pour that food into another box, and you eat that box, and you go into a box where there's your car that's really a box on wheels. You get in that box, you drive from that box to the next. You see what I'm saying? How cramped it is in these boxes all the time? What we got to do is just expand into bigger boxes and the bigger spaces and the bigger opportunities to create and to grow. Make sense? Michael, what did you experience during that exercise? Share with us, my man.
Curly fries.
Sorry.
Curly fries? No worries, man. Go ahead. What did you?
Yeah, that was my son. Sorry.
No worries. So tell us about that. You mentioned the word relax. Tell us about what else you experienced.
Yeah, it's just good to, just take a minute to catch your breath and just to see, what can be the next step.
Exactly, to see what could be the next step. And your inner self, your higher self, is going to tell you what that is. You mentioned the word catch your breath. That kind of tells me, Michael, that you're always grinding away. And
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong, but do you not step back and catch your breath very often?
Nope, I'm always grinding.
And so I can guarantee you, if you start to create the space where you catch your breath, I'm talking turn your phone off. Maybe it's get some wine and chill on the porch with your wife, or maybe it's get on the porch and chill by yourself with some wine, right? Maybe it's go get a massage. When's the last time you went and treated yourself to a 90-minute full body deep tissue massage, Michael?
No, that's probably about 3 years ago.
3 years ago, and you got all that tension. I bet it's in your right shoulder, isn't it? That's where all that tension is, and it goes up into your neck. That's where you stress, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The last time I got to relax is when we went on a cruise 2 years ago for family vacation.
So I want to challenge you to something right now. I want you to challenge, even if it's just 7 minutes, 10 minutes a day, do more. I challenge you to do more, but go find that time to relax. And like David said, go to that breath. When you start to get into that flow of breath, you open up your lungs and you start to open up your body, and you can start to just sense the energy. You noticed it. That relaxed state, is that your higher self or is that your lower self?
It's higher.
Right. So become aware of what state you're in. This is called state management. We've talked about it before. Become aware of what state you're in and make sure that you're always moving to that higher self. Thank you for sharing, my man.
Welcome.
Cool. So let's talk about a few things that you can do, actionable items, how-to items to get into your higher self. Number one, and David mentioned it, meditation, right? You can meditate 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There's a free app called Headspace. I recommend Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey. There's transcendental vibrational music you can download off of iTunes. There's free meditations on the in fact, I'm going to share a meditation with you guys. It's a 3-minute meditation. It's absolutely one of the best meditations I've ever done. There's meditations on YouTube, right? There's apps all over, but make sure that you're setting aside 10, 15 minutes a day to meditate. The second thing is deep breathing. Whenever you're driving down the road and you start to feel some tension, or you're on a phone call, you're feeling tension, or wherever you're at, take a deep breath in. Just do it right now and just feel how good it feels. We don't breathe enough. You can actually expand your arms clear up. Just expand your arms just for a second and just literally feel how good it feels just to connect to that source for just a second. So number 2 is deep breathing. Number 3, and there's free YouTube videos about this. I practice Tai Chi for about 5 minutes every single day. And it's about harnessing that energy and connecting with our inner world, because your eyes are basically closed for most of the part during Tai Chi. So Tai Chi is another way you can learn how to do it to get grounded and get connected. Another one is do visualization exercises like that one I just took you on. That is a very simple and small one, but there's other visualization meditations that you can do. A verbal cleanse. and a digital cleanse. For those of you guys watching live or recorded, Brent, I see you popping on here. When is the last time you spent a whole day, 24 hours without your cell phone, without the TV, without your email, without your internet? When is the last time you went a whole 24 hours? I'd love to see. Has anyone on this call gone 24 hours? When's the last time, David?
While I was out in Phoenix. So, like on my days off, I spent 2 or 3 days at least. I got home to about 600 emails and 2 accounts.
Yeah. Michael said the last time was on the cruise. So what if you didn't have to wait every 2 years to do it? Or what if you don't have to wait till you go out of town to do it? What if you spent 3 hours a day that you just go outside, maybe with a journal, and you just spend time? Or maybe it's an hour a day. You don't even have to do it by yourself. What if you went on a walk with your kids or with your spouse or with the people that are important to you? What if you actually, maybe your associates, if you have a business or a team that you work with? One of the exercises I do with my team is I literally will take my team out for 10 minutes and I'll say, hey, go find as much space as you can find right now. Don't look at the solid object. Look for the space in between the objects and think about that. So do things like that. So I recommend those. Couple ways you can rearrange your space. Number one is maybe you need to rearrange your office space. Maybe you need to clean your car up. Maybe you need to declutter your house. Maybe you need to declutter your workspace, right? How about your calendar? One of the things that we have as far as high achievers is we tend to schedule every moment of our life out. Have you ever fallen into that trap where you schedule your life out and then you get so busy you don't end up following your schedule anymore, right? You know you should be prospecting, but you're dealing with negotiating an offer, or you know you should be on an appointment with a new customer, a new opportunity, but you're behind because you left your last appointment late. That causes stress. That causes frustration. So in your schedule, intentionally leave some buffer room spaces, right? If you know you've got an appointment at 2:30, well, maybe you got to schedule at 1:45 to start moving to that appointment. Maybe you show up 10, 12 minutes, 15 minutes early, and you just have a second to get outside and just take some deep breaths and start to feel the sun for a second. So create more space in your calendar. The other thing, one of the things that I do, right? Obviously, you guys know I've been on a health journey the last year. Every day, 12:15, I go to the gym. I don't really love the gym. I'm just going to be honest with you, but I love the result that it gives me. So one of the things that I did is, okay, I want that result. How could I do something different? So on a Friday at 12:15, maybe instead of going to the gym, I'm going to go hiking for 2 hours, but I get something different with the space that I have. Are you guys starting to get what I'm talking about by creating space and rearranging space and reutilizing our space? Put a 1 in the comments if you get what I'm talking about. Put a 2 if you think I'm batshit crazy, and reach out to me a messenger if you don't know what I'm talking about. One of the quickest ways in order to create more space is to go find where there's clutter in your house. It might be a drawer. It might be your closet. One of the things that I do is every 6 months I go through my closet. If I haven't wore those clothes in the last 6 months, guess what? They're getting out of my closet. Now all of a sudden I open up all this space that I can go get some new clothes and some new opportunity. And the way the void works, the way the universe works with the void is when you create that space, something is going to fill that space. That's how the time-space continuum works. I know I'm getting a little goofy here with some of my words, but when time passes by, something's going to fill that space, okay? When you create space, like into your closet, you're opening up an opportunity and the universe will naturally fill that. Okay, that void will get filled up with something. But guess what? When you're opening it up to space and you get a good vibration, guess what naturally fills more of that space is more good energy, more of your higher self, more love, more joy, more enthusiasm, more tranquility, right? More of that relaxation that I know that you want, Michael. I know you want it because you're talking about it, right? So let's do a quick intention setting exercise. And you can actually use this exercise anytime you want. I probably use it 2 to 3 times a week when I do a smart day or a smart week, okay? So the first thing is that you're gonna do is you're gonna pick a category, and it might even be from when we did that little exercise earlier. What's bubbling up from you? Where are you feeling discontent that you've gotta make some changes? Is it in your finances? I recommend, where this is Financial Freedom Nation, let's pick out some financial things you want to create, right? But maybe it's a health thing. Maybe it's a relationship thing. I know David mentioned that he's got to get this spouse thing figured out and get some clarity on that, right? So pick one intention and write it down. Take just a second and write it on a piece of paper. So maybe if it's a financial thing you can use your 90-day targets. I intend to have a $1 million net worth. Maybe I intend to earn an additional $90,000. Maybe I intend to sell half of my lots. Maybe I intend to relax more, right? Write your intention down. So one of them that I often do around money is I intend to earn $100,000 a month. That's what I've been working on a lot lately, okay? Now I've hit $100,000 in a month several times, but I've never averaged it for 12 months in a row. So that's my intention. I average $100,000 a month in the year 2018, okay? That's the intention that I'm setting, okay? Part two, once you have your intention, is you got to get clear on the purpose. What's the purpose of the intention, okay? Why is it important to you to earn that $100,000 a month, or to earn, or to sell half of your lots, or to have that spouse that you're connected to, or to start going to the gym, or to start drinking green smoothies and get your health in shape? Whatever it is that you picked, why is that important? What will it do for you? If you had that extra $50,000 that you want to earn, what's that going to do for you? If you had that rock star solid spouse and relationship in your life, why is that important for you? What is that going to create in your life? Okay. How will it make you feel to sell half of your lots? How will it make you feel to earn that $100,000 a month? Be writing these things down, guys. The second part of it is create the purpose. Okay. Now the purpose for me is, well, it's an achievement that I've wanted to achieve. If I have that $100,000 a month, I can reinvest it into hiring more people into my sales team. I can reinvest it into increasing my social media content. I can invest it through my long-term savings to buy a new house, right? I start to write down all of these reasons that are important to me. And I think, well, how would it feel if I'm earning $100,000 a month? It's going to be really fucking cool, quite honestly, to earn $100,000 a month. It's going to feel exciting. It's going to feel enthusiastic. It's going to feel like I'm living my life, right? I'm achieving new goals. How does it feel when you achieve those, right? The third thing that is part of the intention setting is your belief. Why do you believe it's possible to have that relationship? And get really specific in your intention. You might have to go back and set that intention, right? Why is it important why is it possible you sell half of those lots? Why is it possible that you make an extra $50,000 by the end of the year? Why is it possible you hit that $1 million net worth? Why is it possible you make your first trade in the stock market? Why is it possible you buy your first real estate property? Whatever it is for you. Well, it's possible because I'm doing this exercise. It's possible because I know Joshua Smith has made $100,000 a month for 12 months. It's possible because I know that Colton Lindsay has $1 million net worth or higher. It's possible because I have 36 lots that I can sell, right? It's possible because I've made $50,000 before, right? Right? All the reasons possible. Think of people that have actually done what you want to do. Make a list of why it's possible to increase that belief. And then the fourth step is to create a commitment, okay? I am 100% committed to manifesting, and then state whatever your intention was. So for me, I'm 100% committed to manifesting $100,000 a month in revenue. I am 100% committed to hitting $600,000 that's trading in the stock market. I am 100% committed to manifesting selling half of my lots. Now, I recommend that you don't necessarily put a time frame on this. Now, when you're setting goals, yes, put a time frame. I earned X in 2018. I earned X first quarter, right? When you're setting goals, use a time limit. When you're setting intentions, the universe, God, guess what? They're rolling on a different time schedule than you are, okay? It will all depend. Sometimes it will come pretty quickly. Sometimes it will take a little bit longer. And what you want, write this down. What you want wants you to. And what wants you, you want to. Okay, so remember that. What you want wants you to. What you want is vibrating at this level. What you want, or what you are, is vibrating at this level. As you start to increase to your higher self, your vibration, what you want will start to decrease in vibration, and you'll start to attract and move together. Then all of a sudden it happens. It just creates. It just is, right? So let me show with you an example how simple it is. I want you to think about getting a pen, right? Like that, getting a pen is a thought. It's an idea. I want a pen. Oh, look, here's a pen right here. And David just manifested one. That's a very basic, simple idea of the manifestation. But I don't care if it's a pen. I don't care if it's a Lamborghini. Brian Cassell, a good friend of mine, I helped him learn the exact principles of cash flow management to where he was 60 days behind, but he ended up getting his Lamborghini Huracan. Prime example. Or maybe it's that relationship. Or maybe, I'm just going to throw it out there, the sex with your wife sucks, right? Or your husband, it sucks, right? Maybe that's what the intention is, but it can be created. Or maybe you're just done being full of anxiety and fear and you're ready to start creating love and courage and enthusiasm, right? You can create that, okay? So write your commitment down, and the steps are simple. Number 1, set the intention. Number 2, write the purpose. Why is it important? Number 3, why is it possible? How come you can believe this? Who else has done this? And number 4, write the commitment. I am 100% committed to manifesting X. Fill in the blank. And then guess what? Now you've got a declaration to read every single day. You've got a declaration to record and listen to. You've got some notes to revisit. And when you think about, because what you focus on expands, it will start to vibrate at a quicker and more fluid, the word is fluid, a fluid frequency, right? Remember this, we all have a shit in our life. We all have a shit storm happening sometime or another. We all have stuff to deal with. Think about say the 4 things again. Number 1, the intention. Number 2, the purpose. Number 3, the belief or the possibility. And number 4 is the commitment. You got it? Cool. So think about a storm. We've recently had some hurricanes, right? Houston had one. Puerto Rico had one. Florida had one. Do you know the most calmest part of the storm is right in the middle of it, right in the center of the storm? It's when you get out in the shit, in the drama, in the act, in the crap, that you get wrapped up and you get knocked over. It's not that you're not going to have storms in your life when you start to live in your higher self. You're still going to have shit to deal with, true or true. But the question is are you going to get grounded and are you going to get centered and are you going to be the eye of the storm? Or are you going to get lost in the middle of the storm and get your shit beat up? The choice is yours, and it's simple. The next time you start to see it, feel yourself get your shit beat up, take a deep breath, relax, get grounded, stand up. What does it feel like to have a solid stance, right? What does it feel like to have your chest out? Take those physiology. Those are one of the 3 things we can change. Remember, physiology, our language, our words, and our thoughts and our focus. Start to act with these things together when you're starting to feel frustrated or you're in the shitstorm. Become the eye of the storm, and life will happen through you instead of to you. How many of you want life to happen through you versus to you? How many of you want it to happen for your advantage versus your disadvantage? How many of you want your luck to change so you don't have to say the only luck I have is bad luck? But what if all you had was only good luck? What if things only happen for you and through you? How would your life be? The reality is that's how it's happening. The only challenge is how you're seeing it. And you're seeing it through a narrow set of lenses that causes restriction and frustration and anxiety. Start to open up, create the space, and when there's new space, there's new opportunity to go execute. Any questions, guys, before we wrap it up? I'm going to give you an assignment, but I want to see if there's any questions that you guys have. Unmute yourself or put it in the comments or ask it in the Facebook group. But the book I want you to read, it's actually a novel, and maybe you've read it, but I want you to go read The Celestine Prophecy. Okay, it's a book that was written in the late 90s. I'm going to spell it in the messenger. The Celestine Prophecy. Okay, go read that book. Listen to that book. This is one of the ways you can go connect by seeing a different perception of how energy works. All right, guys, if there's no questions, appreciate you being on here. Look forward to seeing you grow this week, and we will be talking to you soon. See you guys.